This video is from my Most Important Cloud Concepts collection. If you'd like to watch the full series where I describe all concepts in a single video, check out the link in the description. This is serverless, and this is a very popular topic these days, and kind of a how do I want to say this? A little bit of contentious topic because it started with a certain definition and it kind of changed over time. There's been a lot of blog posts and articles about like what serverless means these days. It's kind of like a bit subjective, but I can tell you what it originally meant and kind of what it's devolved into these days. So when we said serverless in the beginning, actually serverless became a really popular concept with AWS Lambda. Maybe I can just tell you the history of this and this will probably make more sense. And if you don't know about AWS Lambda, it's a compute service. It makes it so that if you want to, host a web app with a backend API, or you want to like perform some, write some scripts and then execute them in the cloud, what you had to do in the past was you had to provision an instance, or what they call an EC2 instance, which is like a virtual instance, and then, load your code onto here and then execute your code. It's just a pain in the butt with having to manage instances because, there's a lot of things you got to deal with in terms of setup and config. They're also expensive. So this became a little bit of a problem. And what AWS Lambda did that kind of revolutionized this mental model was that, most people don't necessarily want to worry about provisioning or setting up instances and then maintaining the security of them and all the networking configuration and that. What people really just want to do is they want to write code. Right? They want to write code and they don't necessarily care where it's executed, what instance it's on or what machine. They just want to write their code and run it. And so what Lambda did is they kind of took advantage of this model and they created what are called Lambda functions. And Lambda functions, it's kind of this like abstract thing that exists in Lambda world. But essentially, you write your code over here. You load it onto a function, which is just like a thing that you create in the AWS console in this case. And then you don't know about like the underlying EC2 machines that are executing your code. It could be one machine, right? There could be a single machine here. It could be multiple, right? Could be like 2 or 3, for example. But from your perspective, like you're just executing your code and you can hook it up to like REST APIs or applications. And then the Lambda service is kind of distributing your traffic to the underlying EC2 instances on your behalf and then kind of scaling them up or down depending on your usage. So this is what the idea of serverless originally was, right? It was the idea where we can create this function, as we used to call it, which is this center entity here. And then we don't have any concept, any idea of the underlying infrastructure that's beneath it. And we just essentially worry about writing our code and our business logic in our application. So this was kind of how things were for a really long time since Lambda got started. But this has kind of changed recently. And it hasn't been like officially declared by AWS in this case, but it has been changed in the way that they're using the serverless term to describe a whole bunch of new features that they're releasing across different AWS services. And let's take an example of this. There's a service called AWS, let me get a different color, OpenSearch, right? OpenSearch, which is Elasticsearch, if you've ever used that. Now with OpenSearch, what you used to have to do when you set this up is that you had to set up like different instances within it. You had to say, okay, I want 3 master nodes that are going to be within this, and then I want maybe like 2 data nodes or whatever. And master nodes and data nodes are just terminology that's specific to OpenSearch. But you had to like set this up and then configure it, and then OpenSearch would hook into it. And then this is kind of like how you would originally do it. And this is not considered serverless, by the way. This was kind of like the traditional model. So what AWS decided to do was kind of adapt this model slightly. And what they essentially said is that, okay, we're going to make it so that you don't necessarily have to worry about any of the underlying instances. We're just going to create a version of OpenSearch where it kind of scales automatically to rapidly increasing traffic, and when your traffic drops down similarly, right? Now the problem with this is that like this would be great if under normal circumstances you only paid for your usage. You only paid for like number of executions, for example, but that's not the model that they use. Like pay per use is how they do it in the AWS Lambda world, and also DynamoDB, which is another kind of serverless service. So with OpenSearch, what they did is like they're calling this feature serverless, but what you still have to do is pay for the number of underlying instances, right? So say when we're over here, right, in this graph, you'd have like 2 instances, right? And maybe these instances cost like $100 per month, so you'd pay like $200 prorated based on the amount of time. And then when your application scaled up, maybe this will go up to 6 instances. So now you're paying $600 per month prorated for how long you're using this amount of infrastructure. And so this is what they're calling serverless these days, which is kind of confusing for most people and not something I'm a particular fan of, but this is what serverless is kind of starting to become. So when you hear the term, just be careful with it, because some people use it in the old context, some people use it in the new context, especially if you like look at AWS announcements, they like to call like, oh, everything is serverless these days. But that's not necessarily the case. Like AWS Lambda is a good example of how serverless should work. But this whole kind of open search model where you're kind of paying for the underlying infrastructure, but you don't have to manage it, is not really serverless, at least in my mind. Okay, let's move on now. The next